I've known Jabari since day one.
Yeah.
You know, I've known you forever. But now you are part of Abe is Abe.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that. But also, I recognized your talent when you came to Project Brownstone and did your poetry.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, wow, you're a really great writer. What was that experience like for you?
That experience, it was just like one of, you have like the checkpoints in life where I was like, oh, I felt like an artist, And it's a very, it's an oxymoron type of situation because it's like, oh, if you're an artist, you're not supposed to be thinking about other people. Like, it doesn't matter if there's validation at all. You're an artist because you're an artist. Mm-hmm. But then the other side, that's like the first time I really got to show art in this like really beautiful space, and like as such a young person around all these like poets that were blowing my mind,
Yeah, it was some amazing people that came through there.
Yeah, it was that was like a powerful room. And for them to like receive that same type of energy,
they were really super encouraging. Yeah,
they were, mm-hmm. And so it was just such a boost of confidence and just like a feeling of keep going down this path.
So when did it morph into Abe is Abe?
I mean, I think in high school I was writing, and I went through so many different like fake names, monikers that I could, go through. Everyone has their time. And I kind of came up with Abe when I was younger because it came out of a very different circumstance where I was in like this all white private schools and like
been there, done that.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And I think like the idea was to kind of create the separation of identity of like, I don't think if you heard the name Abe the Kid, like you would think of this like Black man from Queens to come out on stage.
Right.
And it was kind of like playing with that. Mm-hmm. And I think that was like that kind of like is a really good way to sum up how that started for me, was just this idea of like being able to make and create under a moniker that, I don't know, it just, a stage name kind of like gives you this freedom. So
it's almost like an alter ego.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To just like fully dive into like this honesty and this like soul bearing truths that I always wanted to carry, that I carried in my poems and like ended up carrying into my songs. So it really just started as an outlet to be true, but also still have Jabari Butler, which is like the family, right. And like still have that. Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that's how it grew.
So Abe is Abe, is it a band or is it just you? Because like Sade, for instance, she's an individual, Sade, but Sade is actually a band.
Yeah, so right now it's just me. Mm-hmm. I definitely have a band that I play with frequently, like different members that I'll do my New York shows with, but it logistically is me. It starts with me. I'll do like production and recording and everything. I have a studio in Chinatown right now that
I'm always down in Chinatown,
Then we have to make that happen. And
I'm just like really,
Jabari. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. And like it's been such a blessing. I've only had it for like the past year and maybe like 4 months. It was under construction, so I haven't really had it for as long as I've had it. But yeah, I've been recording out of there, and then I'll like bring that to a band if I'm gonna do a live performance. But really, it's just me solo, man.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course, your influences come from the family first and foremost. But who are your musical influences?
I would say some very like WBLS raised. I feel like that really tells the story. I feel like it's a mix of, like a lot of D'Angelo soul kind of feeling, like D'Angelo drums that I really, really loved. And just those like jazzy chords that are like just so soulful and really feel like life. A lot of gospel, a lot of like Kirk Franklin. I just rediscovered, because my mom put me back onto The Best Is Yet to Come, and that is just like that song I grew up on, and I was singing it the other day. I was like, what's the name of that song? But like those gospel songs, a lot of like great writers like Kendrick Lamar, one of my one of my biggest inspirations. Beyonce.
I think Beyonce is super talented.
Charlamagne God is the podcast host, the radio host. He always had this thing that he would say, or like the rule of 10 where 3 people will love what you do, 3 people will hate it, and 4 people just won't care at all. And I feel like I really have
that's
lived
absolutely true. Mm-hmm.
Like, especially like the idea of just like more people or like a similar amount of people just will not even care. And like you will never, nobody will ever, not all the people in the world will ever care about one thing. It's just like feel comfort in your niche.
Well, do you feel like there's because this is something that I grapple with, support, encouragement from the people nearest and dearest to you.
Yeah, I think it looks different. Like it can feel different. It's not always like a physical or tactile support, but but I definitely feel like supported and loved in the way of like no one is pushing against me, you know.
Oh, good.
I don't feel any forces against me, so I feel like in that way there is a lot of support and always like encouragement when I've talked to family and anybody like sees a video or sees something, they'll try and support in their own ways. I think everyone has a really, especially in family, like everyone has a really emotional relationship to art and just seeing their relatives do art. And I think there is like a lot of complexity in like wishing them well, wishing them safety, wishing them like well-being.
And then also something that I've always had to, I guess, realize is that because people didn't walk your path, sometimes they don't even know how to support it. Yeah. So you have to actually give people grace.
For sure.
And not try and read into it the way that or think that people are going to support you the way that you want it.
Yeah.
You have to kind of take it for what they give you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just zero expectation, I feel like, has been the best principle for me. It's been harder for me to accept that my family does pay attention now, because I was so used to and so comfortable in the fact that no one ever paid attention. No, like I lived in this completely different world. Everyone knew, like Jabari knew me. This Abe's a Kid thing was like completely on the other side. I loved that. I was so comfortable. So I have like more of dilemmas now, getting used to people like being like, oh, when are you gonna show? Like, when can I come to the show? So I'm like, I don't know. That's a big question.
So you multitask. So you write, you rap, you sing, you're a visual artist.
Yeah.
I love the stuff that you do.
Thank you.
You play multiple instruments, something that I wish I did. I've tried, but hey.
Yeah. I'm sure you're better than you give yourself credit for.
Well, you know what? Funny enough, I'm a good producer.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I know how to, I think of music, it's like painting.
Yeah.
There are different strokes, there's different colors that, only when the picture's finished, when the painting is done.
Yeah.
And when there's something missing from it. And that just comes with, for me, came with time. And then working on other projects with people.
Yeah.
And I just know what I like. And I just had to go with that.
Yeah. Which is strong. That's something that not everyone has.
No.
The vision. Just like knowing when.
This is one of those existential questions. What makes you sing?
That is, I think I just generally have such a like physical reaction to music. And like such a physical reaction to sound that like it has to come out. Like, it doesn't, it's just
like breathing.
Yeah, it really is like breathing. It's like, I walk down the street and you're like, I think I'm not generally embarrassed, but like I have a sense of social awareness, but like I'll just sing to myself to the point where it's like, you'll like look up and catch somebody's eyes and they'll be looking at you and you're like, why are they like why? And it's like, oh, I'm not like I'm singing out loud right now. Yeah. And it's just it just feels like it has to.
How do you see yourself like on the marketplace? Where do you see yourself?
That's one of the things I definitely have been thinking about and trying not to think about at the same time. I don't know. I think I'm still figuring that out. I think I'm still finding who I am as an artist. I think I know the things that I like. I think I definitely have like really figured out my vision and what I like in music and the types of music I like to make. But I do think that I'm still building skills in order to like I want to be able to play the instrument in the way that I want to play it. Whereas now I feel like I'm still just building skills and like still just like getting my fingers to do the right things when I want them to do them. So I feel like I'm still building to figure that out. Yeah.
Okay, so then where do you see yourself going with it?
My conversation with my journal
Okay.
My conversation with my journal is I would like to be like, I've always said to myself I wanted to be like one of the greatest artists of my generation. And
well, that leads me to what I think of you. I think that you actually are the new generation of musicians coming up. I mean, I now look to people like you because also now you're under a different paradigm as far as music is concerned, the industry. Labels don't really exist anymore. Now everybody's merging and moving into distribution, which is also dodgy because now they're controlling the algorithms and they got software that can pick up something that's going viral so they can jump on you before everybody else. It's just crazy what they're doing now. And they're blocking independent artists. But what you do, I think, is really powerful because something that they can't control is direct to consumer. And I think that that's where you have them in spades because you are, for me, I thought of all the adjectives just because I study you. I do watch you.
I appreciate
but
it.
Bold, daring, innovative, unique. And those are all of the ingredients that you need to make a mark. And I think that you are electric on stage.
Thank you.
Yeah, really. Like I said, I watch.
Yeah.
And it's really phenomenal. And so how did that come about? I mean, where did that come from?
I mean, that's credit to family. Like that's one thing I think growing up in like a dancing family.
That's true. Yeah, we have the dancers, singers.
Just continually on stage. To me, it's like this challenge of bravery of like, once someone pushes you to the edge, you only have one option, and it's like I'm not gonna
fold.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fold.
No,
I'm not gonna fold.
We don't do that.
Exactly.
We don't come from that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
And also, it's that thing. I've been physically ill. Where it's like, are you gonna make it? But the minute you step on stage, you just snap out of it. And it's people don't understand it. It's a phenomenon.
It is.
Because it is another person.
Do you find yourself uncomfortable, or when you were like introducing people to you as a performer and like maybe coming to see your first shows, your sisters, your family, like was it uncomfortable? Were you excited?
Well, see, I had already had a track record in Europe. So I had already did my whole run in Europe, MTV, the whole bit and all that stuff.
I see.
So by the time that I came to New York and started gigging, they just came. I mean, they just came, and I didn't think, because the thing is that once you're performing, you don't even notice that they're there. And they supported. They came. My mom, my dad, they were there. Your aunts came. Everybody was there.
Was there any conversation around like, okay, Earl, but this this persona who I am, like here, like was there any conversation, or was it just everything understood?
I just think that I was almost like an anomaly. I was like that thing over there that nobody really could define what it was. They're career people. Workers.
For sure. Which always makes me like wonder, what if it was different, like in a positive and a negative way, because I've seen a lot of people, like they go off to the music schools and music colleges and like they're around a whole bunch of people who are like all focused on the same thing, and it can be kind of like too much. And
because also there's this element of competition. And something that I don't come from. So like when we have all these American Idols, The Voice, I love them because I love the human voice.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do any of that stuff.
Same. Yeah.
I'd be like, they'd throw me out of there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, wow. But then it also moves into that area of where they're technicians, not artists. And you're an artist. But that showed early on,
Yeah.
You're an artist. And a lot of people, like I said, they're really great technicians, phenomenal singers, but they don't really say anything.
Yeah.
And you have a lot to say. What do you normally write about?
I write about a lot. I mean, I say these days, I normally write about everything is pretty like coded. It's really hard because it'll be, I catch off of a word, or like a phrase. Like the other day, I was at work and one of my coworkers, I forget what he was talking about, but he just said the sentence like, "We need you, Karen." And I didn't know what he was talking about, but then he said that, and then my brain just started like, "Oh, we need you, Karen." And then I just wrote this whole, and it was like, "We need you, Karen." Like somebody's outside and he's got a gun. I'll call the cops, but I'll slide you the phone and dial, blah blah blah. Like I just kept writing and writing, and it was just like, oh, now I have this song called like "We Need You, Karen," and it's just about like this like the feeling of like being a young Black person who like. I think that this idea of like hating cops has kind of grown, and like I think it's kind of been trivialized to be like, oh, you just hate cops because you're Black and it's cool to hate cops. It's like, no, I actually just don't feel like it's because of a promise that has been not met, or like a really nice phrase or something like that, and then I'll just kind of start to like unravel its connections to like the real world, just like how does this relate to everything that's happening right now. I think how my brain works. I did a lot of improv in college, which was like not an that was the side plot of completely of life, but it changed how I wrote and how I understand writing, where now I feel like if I get any one sentence, like as long as I just get that starting point,
right,
I can really, it's just about like justification. It's like, okay, if the tree is in the desert, then why? And then like the song kind of unravels itself. So like exactly what I write about, probably just like, a lot of the thoughts of like being trapped in or feeling trapped in a place that was not meant for me in like a very individual sense. Is just like, Jabari, but also in like this larger sense of like as a Black African American man, like I'm in a place that I'm not meant to be. It's 30 degrees outside. My skin is literally not meant for this. Right? Like that type of like depth of not belonging and growing and decisions and like the domino effect of decisions, like all that stuff, but always kind of coded in a bit more like funny or specific things.
But what's your process? Like, for instance, I always start with a rhythm.
Yeah. In what way?
Usually, on the computer or, I'll start with the rhythm track. Because also in London, I was writing to the rhythm section.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's where I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
And then, you add the chords in, and then a word will come out of nowhere.
For sure.
And then you just kind of start building on that.
Absolutely.
And then, but I always start from the rhythm.
Yeah.
Whereas there are some people that sit down to a piano and compose.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little more
the
simple.
Composers. It is a little more elegant.
Yes.
No. Yeah. I'm definitely in that rhythm like fuel.
Yeah,
section.
Rhythm moves things for me.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and I recently had a collaborator who I met, and he's kind of older, so he was kind of giving us game in a way. And he was just kind of showing us this is how you can start writing, and you can maybe like commit to a certain flow or a certain pattern, and it gets more difficult and difficult as you keep going. You need more words, and you can kind of like start to give up and maybe go on a different route. Like it's hard to, but basically you can kind of just like sell out and like, oh no, I'm just gonna go into this different thing rather than like committing to what this really because I feel like less people are in charge of how songs get built, so it's just like it is however you can imagine it when you're sitting at your computer. And I love that.
So you went to Georgetown.
Yeah.
What did you study?
I went into Georgetown for business.
So yeah, college is a very tricky thing for kids.
It is. Keyword kids. Yeah.
And that's what it is.
It's an adult institution.
Right, an adult institution that they're forcing kids into to make adult choices as to what they want to do with the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
It's too much pressure. Yeah, it's way too much pressure for a child to like understand the weight of the decisions they make.
Of that type of decision, Like, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? So they would talk about their journey from going to school, making those choices, and how sometimes those choices changed as you went along. So the gist of it was, don't pressure yourself, because what you're going in for is probably what you're not going to end up doing.
Yeah.
But what you can do is take your passion and the skills that you learn and combine them and create a life. And I think that that's an important message to send kids.
Yeah.
Not this, oh, you have to make this death-defying choice as to what am I going to do with the rest of my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because that doesn't work.
It really doesn't.
Yeah. In most cases.
It didn't work for me. Yeah. So what projects are out now? Like, what do you have out released now that people can get their hands on?
So the most recent project I had was this really big project that I went into after I graduated called Darling Child, which is a 11 song album that I had written and produced basically in that year of transition between college and life. Just the rest of life.
It's called Darling Child?
Yes.
Darling Child, and I know it's on Spotify, all the streaming services. You got that shit covered.
Yes.
Like I said, I watch you. Yeah. So you got to check them out. No, and if you get a chance, if you're ever downtown in New York, this is the man to see.
Please, yes, at all studios.
So what upcoming projects, upcoming club dates, what are you doing?
Yeah, so my upcoming project right now, something that I'm extremely excited about, is that I have this 5-song EP with a friend of mine. His name is Steph. He goes by the name Kin River Works. We've been working. We did this retreat together maybe 2 months ago in Connecticut, where we like stayed time in a cabin. We just brought out our gear and everything. And he's this like folk bass artist. He grew up classically trained pianist, then turned to guitar, and they've been making a lot of like indie folk music. Obviously I've been doing a lot of like soul, hip hop stuff, and we've kind of come together to, we just have very similar ideas of what art means and what music means and what it should do. And so we've just collaborated on this project. It's called IAJAR, IAJAR. Okay. It'll be coming out like early spring next year, which is a little bit of a time.
IAJAR.
Yes.
Coming out in spring. You have to check it out, I'm sure. And I like that idea of mixing genres.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Because come on, we have so many influences. We're like sponges as you walk through life. So to be able to only do one thing, that's like really...
Yeah, it's
all those right, exactly. All those influences have a way of creeping into what you do.
Yeah.
Like I said, the thing that will propel you forward in just the industry as being an artist is that you're creating innovative work and that you're creating unique stuff that we don't hear, stuff that we don't see all the time. Person that breaks the mold.
Yeah.
That's all we need is that one.
For sure.
So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
I so appreciate you. I'm proud of you, of course. And I do follow. And I appreciate you. I appreciate your talent. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.